Too few workers, too few people driving these trucks, too few people in other aspects of the industry.
Telling Fox News the question is how to infuse more labor into the workforce. In a separate announcement focusing on the power supply, the Biden administration says it will help develop up to 7 offshore wind farms on the east and west coasts and in the Gulf of Mexico, part of the president's goal for 30 gigawatts of offshore wind energy by 2030, generating enough electricity to power more than 10 million homes. Juvenile detention facilities in Texas are now under a Justice Department review over allegations including physical and sexual abuse.
Staff members have reportedly paid children with drugs and cash to assault other children. There are also reports of staff sharing pornographic material with children.
Assistant Attorney General Kristen Clark in the DOJ's Civil Rights Division says they'll also focus on the use of restraints, isolation, and lack of mental health services. A ranch known as the Western White House when President Reagan was in office is among the properties being protected from a Southern California wildfire, now covering more than 22 square miles in the mountains west of Santa Barbara. The number of firefighters nearly doubling to 1,300, with containment at just 5%. America is listening to Fox News.
Progressive Motorcycle presents Road Wisdom from the Motor.
Half man, half motorcycle.
Ride confidently in the direction of your dreams. Unless it's a bad dream, then turn around.
Go the other way.
Progressive Motorcycle also presents basic policy starting at $79 a year. Progressive Motorcycle, for those who were born to ride. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Annual premium for basic liability policy is not available in all states.
Big news from Simply Safe Home Security. Okay. Actually, I think the horns are too much. That's better. Big news. The new wireless outdoor security camera is here. Yes, Simply Safe's award-winning home security just got even better, taking whole home protection to a whole new level. Okay, I'm missing the horns. Simply Safe is celebrating this new camera by offering free shipping for a limited time. Visit simplysafe.com today.
A man armed with a bow and arrow launches a deadly attack outside Norway's capital, Oslo. Reports of at least 4 people killed before the suspect was arrested some 20 minutes later. Police say several people were wounded in shops. No word yet on who the man is or any possible motive. Star Trek's Captain Kirk says he hopes he never loses what he felt today after blasting off for real with Blue Origin, the second human flight for the company's New Shepard capsule. Actor William Shatner, at age 90, becoming the oldest person in space.
The flight lasted 10 minutes and 17 seconds, during which the crew experienced weightlessness for a couple of minutes. When the capsule returned safely to Earth, Shatner spoke to Blue Origin founder Jeff Bezos about his experience.
What you have given me is the most profound experience I can imagine. I'm so filled with emotion about what just happened.
That raw emotion is what we'll remember most about the day, a historic moment and the best advertisement Blue Origin could have asked for its upcoming commercial flights.
Fox Business's Kelly O'Grady in Van Horn, Texas. A wildly popular thriller nabs a streaming record.
Squid Game, officially Netflix's biggest series launch ever. The streaming service revealing on Twitter it's been viewed by 111 million fans. The South Korean thriller focuses on a fictional deadly contest where people battling debt compete for a cash prize. Squid Game hitting the streaming service on September 17th. The series boxing out the previous Netflix record holder, Bridgerton. Kristen Goodwin, Fox News.
Another choppy day on Wall Street. The Dow down a fraction after fluctuating, but the S&P snaps a 3-day losing streak and the NASDAQ up more than 100. I'm Lisa Brady. This is Fox News.
Rainy and windy for this afternoon. We'll have highs in the upper 50s with a northeast wind of 15 to 30 and gusting over 40 at times. Showers will come to an end as we head into the overnight hours. We'll drop down to a low into the 40s and breezy and cooler for Thursday with mostly cloudy skies. We'll have highs in the lower 50s. Much of the same for Friday. Partly to mostly cloudy and highs in the lower 50s. Remember, you can always find the full forecast at am1100theflag.com. From the Flag Skywatch Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Dean Wysocki.
For more than 40 years, Jose Investments has brought plans to life and made dreams come true by delivering expertise and service to those wishing to lease office space, buy or sell land, or develop office buildings. Their team of professionals has extensive experience with landlords, tenants, buyers, sellers, and developers in the tri-state region. They know the properties, they know the market. When you look to the future, look to Jose Investments. Go online to joseinvestments.com. That's KJOS Investments.com.
Celebrating America, 1 hour at a time. This is the Chris Berg Show.
Did you know that North Dakota led the nation from 1930 to 2005 in one particular stat? North Dakota was the only state of the entire nation over that 75-year span to accomplish this. And I'm going to tell you what it is here in just a moment because it's going to tie into our conversation today. Good afternoon on this rainy Wednesday. Welcome to the Chris Berg Show. Yes, your oasis of freedom. You and I, we love freedom. So if you're a freedom lover like I am, this is the right show for you. Number to call in anytime throughout the show today, 701-271-1100, 701-271-1100. Had an amazing show yesterday talking about special assessments. We may dive back into some of that because it was such a phenomenal ongoing conversation. But I want to get into the stat that North Dakota actually led the nation. We were the only state in the nation, right? From 1930 to 2005. And I'm just going to give you a moment right now in your own mind. If you can guess, like maybe I'll ask producer Bridget here, but like if you can guess, what do you think North Dakota led the nation in from 1930 to 2005? They were the only state in the nation to accomplish what, Bridget? What would you guess?
Had to guess something about oil or energy. Not sure.
Great guess. So what it was is that we were the only state in the nation over that 75-year span to actually decrease in population. We were the only state in the entire nation over a 75-year span to actually decrease in population. Now, clearly that trend is changing here in the great state of North Dakota. You had McKenzie County over the last 10 years from 2010 to 2020 be the fastest growing county in the entire nation. Williams County, right next to it, the second fastest growing county in the entire nation. So yes, trends are absolutely changing. I bring all this up because I want to ask you this. For those of you that have been in North Dakota most of your life, all of your life, can you ever remember a time in our state when we were more economically poised to just take off, to explode economically as an entire state? I mean, you can look across all four quadrants of our state right now, and things are just booming. I don't know if you know this, but it is being suggested, I'm going to put it this way, it is being suggested that on Thursday, our state is going to announce the single biggest project in the history of our state. It's going to be a $5 billion project that I'm suggesting potentially maybe might be announced tomorrow on Thursday. And then on Friday, we're going to have North Dakota Commerce Commissioner James Lamont join us on the show to talk about what exactly that is. And again, what does that mean to the great state of North Dakota? I bring this partly up as well because coming up later in the show today, we're going to have the founder and president of Grand Sky joining us, Tom Sawyer, I believe is how you say his last name. We'll get the correct spelling or saying on that, but Tom Sawyer, excuse me. But he's just done some amazing work there. And so I say that because imagine how big is the unmanned aerial system industry going to be? When you think about where things are going with space research up at UND, we've all seen the pictures, the videos of the idea of Amazon now being able to deliver pizzas with drones or, boxes or whatever it's going to be. I mean, how ginormous is the unmanned aerial system industry going to be for the state of North Dakota? Oh, and by the way, one more thing for the great state of North Dakota is the fact that We are the only state in the nation right now, the only state in the nation that is able to do the beyond line of sight drone flying. And that's happening right now. They're testing it between Williston and Watford City. So Grand Forks has got the Grand Sky, like the industry hub right there. And then over in the other part of the state, you've got them testing this first thing only ever in the, in the nation, beyond line of sight. And I can go on and on and on what's going across our great state. Now, I say some of this because I know this sounds great, and it is. And yet we all have this challenge in our state that has been going on now indefinitely, is this workforce issue. I just saw on Fox News a moment ago, Labor Department says that right now, and you and I have talked about this before, right now, people are quitting. People are quitting their jobs at a record rate, according to the Labor Department. So we've had this workforce problem, and yet somehow we found these geniuses that said, I have an idea. We have a workforce shortage. We haven't fully authorized a COVID shot, so it's not fully authorized by the FDA. So I know, let's make it a mandate. Let's make sure that we force employers to mandate the COVID jab, because that should help. That should help the workforce issues. Like whoever the genius was that thought of that, I want to meet that person and interview them here on this show, because it's not helping. Because it's not helping. And so when I say this to you about the COVID jab, you've got people quitting jobs now at record rates. One of the things that you and I are going to continue to talk about here on the show is, how do we rebrand North Dakota? Let's be honest with ourselves. Branding North Dakota outside of the state or the upper Midwest, it's not an easy gig, right? It's 20 below here in the winter. The wind chills can be God knows how cold, things of that nature. We've got the Fargo movie that doesn't give us the best brand. So my question to you is, what if, when you think about the mandates, what's going on with Southwest Airlines, the restrictions, you got to have a vaccine card to go to a restaurant, ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba. I can go on and on and on about the restrictions now that are going on in different places across the country that are impacting you and your family's freedoms. And I know you talk to people outside of our state, outside of our area. And when you do, a lot of them are griping to you about the restrictions on their freedoms. So knowing that, and knowing that there's a workforce issue here in North Dakota, in fact, yesterday, Governor Doug Burgum said that if we actually kept every single high school graduate and every single college graduate in the state of North Dakota to fill jobs, we still couldn't fill all the jobs that are open. That's how many jobs are open here in North Dakota. So if we're going to attract great people and great families to our state, what if we came out and we started saying, hey, you want to know what's awesome about North Dakota? North Dakota is the freest state in the nation. North Dakota is the freest state in the nation. Like, what if we started to say to people, North Dakotans, we're happy because we're free. I don't know about you, but when I'm free, I'm pretty darn happy. North Dakotans, we're happy because we're free. We're the freest state in the nation. I'm not saying we're there right now. And if you and I came together as a community and got focused on what could we be doing to brand and implement things that can continue to make us more and more free in the great state of North Dakota, could that be a powerful branding opportunity to say to people, hey, come join us here. Come join us here. We've got a great comment on our live stream that I want to invite everybody to please. This is, some of you might say, fortunately, I'm going to say, unfortunately, this oasis of freedom here on the Chris Berg Show, it's only an hour, right? It's only an hour. So one of the things that we are doing is we are continuing to have this conversation around faith, freedom, and action 24/7. We're doing that on our social media channels. So I want to invite you to always go like and follow our Facebook page. It's facebook.com/Chris Berg Show. Again, facebook.com/Chris Berg Show. We live stream the show every single day on our social media channels. And as we're talking about making North Dakota the freest state in the nation, Alexa says, hey, from your lips to God's ears, From your lips to God's ears. So I think it's a very powerful branding statement to go out and attract families and workers here. And I want to come back to a moment because we keep hearing about, hey, you got to take the jab, right? If we're going to mitigate the situation here that's happening with COVID, you got to take the jab. So let me share some data that came out today for you. There's a couple of things that are really, really important for you to know. One of the things that I believe is really powerful is when you can recognize patterns, right? Like if you want to think about who are the greatest stock traders in the world, those are the people that can recognize patterns. They see the patterns in the charts and go, oh, that stock's either going to go up or down. I'm going to obviously either buy it going up or I'm going to short it and I'm going to make money. You think about the greatest home run hitters, the greatest hitters on the planet, right? What makes a great hitter? Because look, when a guy's throwing a 90 mile an hour, 100 mile an hour up high in the, strike zone heater, like you're not sitting there going, oh boy, that looks like a strike. No, you are recognizing the pattern of the way the ball is coming out of that pitcher's arm. So the best hitters, the best home run hitters on the planet are great pattern recognizers. They recognize patterns. That's what makes them outstanding. So I bring all this up because one of the things that we want to do here on the show for you and your family is help you see beyond the curve, help you see around the corner. Like, hey, what's coming next? I need to be aware of this. I need to prepare myself and my family for it so that I can obviously act accordingly. One of those things, this is just came out recently, some news here. In a private phone call yesterday with the nation's governors, the White House said states should prepare to begin vaccinating elementary school age kids against COVID-19 in early November. I told you last week, they're coming for our kids. They are coming for our kids. This is why it's so important that you and I are having these conversations every day here on this Oasis of Freedom, the Chris Berg Show, in regards to what are you and I going to do to stand up to this medical tyranny? What's it going to take for you and I to say, I will not comply? Does it finally happen when they get to your kids? Is that the deciding moment for you? I don't know what it is for you. Only you know that. And I think it's important that you are making the best decisions for you and your family. There's a lot of pressure right now. There's a lot of persuasion. There's a lot of influence. There's a lot of coercion. It's a word I don't like. I don't like when someone tries to coerce me to do something. But there's a lot of coercion right now happening in this nation in regards to this COVID shot. So I want to give you some stats real quick. Again, good information will help you make better decisions for you and your family. The state of Minnesota, over 58% of the people in Minnesota are fully vaccinated. And right now in Minnesota, over the last 7 days, the cases in Minnesota are actually rising. And it's at 8.4%. So right now you've got over 58% of the Minnesota population fully jabbed, and yet the cases are rising in Minnesota at 8.4% and rising precipitously, fairly dramatically. You can go look at the charts. But in North Dakota, you've got a 45% vaccination rate, fully vaccinated. That's, what is that, 13% less. And yet here's what's amazing. The COVID cases are actually trending downward right now. We're at 7.9% over a 14-day rolling average. So that's actually trending downward here in North Dakota. Less people vaccinated, cases trending downward. Minnesota, more of the percentage of the people vaccinated, cases are trending upward. It's the opposite of what you were told initially about the jab, right? I hope people are starting to see what is happening and what's so. All right. Thank you so much for joining us here on this live stream and making your comments. When we come back, we're going to dive into the fantastic UAS event, the expo. It's the 15th annual that's happening up in the wonderful city of Grand Forks. Amazing things happening up in Grand Forks as well right now. So stay with us. We're going to have that over the next couple segments. And of course, if you want to call in and have that conversation with us, please do so. Number to call into the show, 701-271-1100. You're listening to the Chris Berg Show.
Seven, into the future. I wanna fly like an eagle.
Me, I'm gonna fly like an eagle. Big UAS Expo happening up in Grand Forks today and tomorrow. Joining us here in just a moment, a very special guest that's actually been there throughout the day. He lives out in Tioga. He's doing some great things in the drone space, UAS space. So we're going to introduce him to you here in just a moment. First, though, I do want to share with you, flat rate fee is saving thousands of dollars for you at James Patrick Real Estate. They've been in the business now for almost 10 years, worked with hundreds and hundreds of clients. And the more I learn about what they're doing in real estate is fascinating. It might not even be the appropriate word. I want to invite you to check them out online. It's James Patrick Real Estate, because on their website, they've got this listing fee comparison. And so you can go there and look at your home and say, oh, my home, is probably valued around $300,000. So let's just do that real quick, because I'm on the site right now. So let's say that your home was going to go out and sold for $300,000. Okay. What's amazing what this company is doing is that whether they sell your home for $300,000 or $500,000, the listing and selling fee is the same. Every single time they go out and list and sell your home, it's $3,500. So, for example, if your home was going to go out and sell for $300,000, because the listing fee is the same no matter what they sell it for a $300,000 home, they just saved you $5,500. You can go to their website, bunch of great testimonials there. It says Dan and his team is on top of the entire process and make it super easy to understand. Love this. We save so much money and time with James Patrick Real Estate. Thank you, Nick Olerud. And that's James Patrick Real Estate. Honest advice, proven results. Well, let's go to our special guest that's been up in Grand Forks for the day, part of the UAS Expo is Dennis Lindahl. He's executive director of the Tioga Economic Development there and also hosts the Morning Lowdown on our sister station from 8 to 9 out west on KTGO 1090.
Good afternoon.
In fact, Dennis, I'm hoping some of your peeps are watching right now on our live stream because we live stream every day at 4 o'clock on the KTGO 1090 Facebook page. So, hey, it's great to have you with us. And I know that you are very knowledgeable in this unmanned aerial system space. So I just would love to know from you actually so much. But I guess number one is, as you're up there today, what stood out to you the most is like, wow, this is an amazing thing or opportunity for the people of North Dakota?
So the UAS Summit and Expo, I was taking a look at the agenda, and the first day, I've been there all morning, but the first thing I wanted to really check out that caught my eye was at 10:15. They did a counter UAS, the future of drone security and defense. And I was surprised. I was surprised by the number of people that didn't attend it. It is a very dry subject, but when we start talking about these unmanned aerial systems, this is something that been on my radar for a while. But it's interesting because when drones are flying, a lot of people don't think that a drone, it can be hijacked. And so hackers can hack into that command control system. And there was a very good kind of like a seminar, kind of a roundtable discussion about, number one, how to prevent that. And number two, what they're doing to prevent that. They have to think about it. When there's a drone that's flying and you don't know who the operator is, or possibly it's in a restricted area, or it's not following the FAA rules, that has to be managed, that has to be mitigated, especially say like if you're around an airport, or if you're around a military base, or if you're around something that's very important to us here in North Dakota, which is power generation, whether you're talking about coal, whether you're talking about wind, whether you're talking about natural gas or crude oil. All of these systems are vulnerable to bad actors taking these drones and doing not nice things with them. And so this is something that should be every North Dakotan should be cognizant of this, because we have so many unmanned aerial systems. We have the beyond visual line of sight, of course, it's happening here in Grand Forks, as well as in between Watford City and Williston. And so it was just really interesting to hear, how these drones can be very, very dangerous if they're operated by bad actors.
Dennis, I've got about 20 seconds left. So I think the most important question I can ask you, since you're in Grand Forks and at the expo, is, did you get a pizza delivered to you last night by a drone?
I did not get a pizza delivered.
Come on, man. I was hoping you were going to pull that off and be like, yeah, Chris, this is amazing.
Not quite yet. Not quite there yet.
All right. Well, I just want to say thank you. I know you're busy up there. I just thank you for giving us a few minutes of your time. When we come back, we actually have the president, Dennis, the founder and president of Grand Sky, which I think is going to be a fascinating conversation, because I want to hear from him kind of big picture. What does all this mean for North Dakota and the economy and all that great stuff? So Dennis Lindahl, check him out on the KTGO 1090 station, 8 to 9 a.m. Thanks, Dennis. Have a great day. Stick around. We got much more coming up here on the Chris Berg Show.
I'm Charles Payne, and this is the
nearly 3% despite reporting earnings and revenue that exceeded Wall Street estimates. The Wall Street Bank benefited from the release of over $2 billion of loan loss reserves that were built up to ride out the pandemic. And shares of Apple ended slightly lower following reports that the tech giant will cut iPhone 13 production to up to 10 million units amid a shortage of components from chip suppliers Broadcom and Texas Instruments. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Hillary Barsky, invested in you.
Any supplier can drop a box outside your door. But if you want a partner who delivers great customer service too, rely on Cintas. Your dedicated service reps can deliver what you need to help your business run smoothly. From essential cleaning products to hygienically cleaned apparel, fire protection services to first aid and safety supplies. That service you can't get from a box.
Oh, I'm ready.
Visit Cintas.com and get ready.
Mostly cloudy skies, rainy and windy for the rest of the afternoon. We'll have highs in the upper 50s with winds out of the northeast about 15 to 30 and gusty. Overnight tonight, we'll see the showers come to an end. We'll drop down to a low in the mid 40s and mostly cloudy for your Thursday. Breezy and cooler with highs in the low 50s. Much of the same for Friday, partly to mostly cloudy, highs in the low 50s. Remember, you can always find the full forecast at am1100theflag.com. From the Flag Skywatch Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Dean Wysocki.
Hey, Mox and Job at the Lights in West Fargo knows the temps are cooling off, wants to help warm you up with a happy hour special.
From 4 to 7 p.m. daily, get all Moxie drinks at 50% off.
Half price on Moxie coffees, the teas, the smoothies.
And even the new fall flavors are half price.
Say it.
Pumpkin spice, caramel roll, apple pie latte. You can also try cinnamon roll, vanilla, maple, or brown sugar shortbread latte.
That's 4 to 7 p.m. daily happy hour at
Moxie Java Coffee at the Lights in West Fargo with a drive-through right next to Bell Bank.
Don's Car Wash is now offering our new unlimited exterior wash packages at both the 52nd and 13th Avenue locations. Simply choose between the Works, Protection Package, or Base Club. Then enjoy unlimited exterior washes at both locations for one low price. Plus, club members can add interior cleaning a la carte at Don's on 13th. No one puts a smile on your car like Don's Car Wash. Stop in today at either Fargo location to ask about the Unlimited Wash Club or go online at donscarwashes.com.
The very popular Country Inn and Suites by Radisson is also in Detroit Lakes, recently renovated, inviting you for a comfortable and restful stay. You'll be greeted by a fireplace in the lobby, setting the tone for your visit. Your time at the Country Inn and Suites in Detroit Lakes will be great because of the year-round fun activities in and around the Detroit Lakes area. Enjoy amenities like wireless internet, in-room refreshments, microwaves, and coffee makers. And of course, pets are always welcome. Log on to RadissonHotels.com to secure your reservation soon.
Hi, this is Natalie Tucksher from Vision Bank. Did you know that home loan rates are still at historic lows? That's right, there's still time to refinance. With lower rates, you can reduce your monthly payment or cut years off the term of your mortgage. Now is the time to refinance, buy, or build. Vision Bank has the best rates, responsive lenders, and will guide you through the entire process. For more information, check out visionbanks.com, call 701-364-2020, or stop into one of our 3 locations. Bank with Vision, Equal Housing Lender, member FDIC.
Hey, it's Scott Hinton here. So excited to tell you about, in this time of crazy upheaval and open borders and spending gone crazy and mandates and lockdowns and inflation, there's something we can do. We can buy from a company that believes what you and I believe. Patriot Mobile is America's only Christian conservative wireless provider. They offer broad nationwide coverage. In fact, they use the very same towers as all the major carriers. And they have plans to fit any budget. And their 100% U.S.-based customer support team provides exceptional customer support. Patriot Mobile shares your values. They support organizations fighting for religious freedom, constitutional rights, the sanctity of life, veteran and first responder heroes. Go to patriotmobile.com/flagfamily or call 972-PATRIOT. Get free activation with the offer code FLAGFAMILY. patriotmobile.com/flagfamily. patriotmobile.com/flagfamily. Or call 972-PATRIOT right now.
Back to the Chris Berg Show. Great to have you with us here on this rainy, somewhat rainy, depends, I guess, on where you're at, but Wednesday afternoon. Always love to hear from you. Number to call into the show. We can talk about anything you want. 701-271-1100. Again, 701-271-1100. Want to remind you as well, you can always check us out as we live stream the show every single day on our social media channels. You can go to facebook.com/Chris Berg Show. All right, we were supposed to have the founder and president of Grand Sky with us right now. Apparently, we're having some issues getting him on the phone. So I do want to go back because we had such a powerful conversation yesterday in regards to special assessments. And the conversation went so well. Like I said yesterday, I must have had, 7, 8, just money clips that I wanted to play for you yesterday. And the conversation was so good because this is what I love about talk radio is you and I get to have this back and forth conversation about what's happening. The conversation went so well, we didn't even get the chance to get to any of these clips. And so I think it's powerful because if you missed yesterday's show, please go back and watch it. I want to let you know as well, we've got a podcast. So if you're on Google, iTunes, Spotify, you can subscribe to the podcast there. That way you'll get the show every single day. But I want to come back to what is the role of city government? That's the way I framed the conversation yesterday. I asked you, hey, do you think it's a good idea for the city of Fargo to act as a bank? And I hope that you said no. I hope that you said no, it should not act as a bank. Then I asked you, hey, how do you feel if the city of Fargo acts as a nonprofit engineering firm? Is that a good idea or a bad idea? Again, I hope that you said no. So if you want to call in and share your point of view on special assessments, please do so. And I want to dive into some of these clips for you because who I'm going to play for you here in a moment, he's got an organization, Strong Towns. It's a nonprofit organization called Strong Towns. He goes around the country and looks at ways to obviously maximize efficiencies, revenue in cities. So he doesn't really have a dog in the fight. He's just saying, hey, guys, here's what the data shows. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about special assessments and his assessment, pun intended, his assessment on special assessments. Because as I said yesterday, Moorhead might do this a little bit, but it is very rare if you go across the rest of the country. It is very rare when you come across another community that is using special assessments. I can't stand special assessments. I think it's one of the most ridiculous tools anyone's ever come up with. And I say that because for many people out there, it's like taxation without representation. There's been some changes to it. So they're trying to make it better. And I'm saying, hey, get rid of it. I want to share with you why and what this gentleman had to say from Strong Town. So this is where he starts to set this up. And the audio's not great here. I'm trying to find from the governor's office, like the best audio I can get for you. But I put this on my phone yesterday. It was a Facebook Live, so just bear with me and listen closely because he starts off this conversation I'm going to share with you where he says, there's something dysfunctional. That's his word. There's something dysfunctional happening today in this community. Listen closely. And of course,
dysfunctional going on today, and we need to talk about it. We need to talk about it. So this is the idea, if you don't know what a special is, it's the idea of special assessment. The idea that the city would go out, take on all the bonding risk, take on all the development liability, to install millions and millions of dollars of infrastructure, hold that risk for the developer, and in turn then allow the developer to sell the lots and keep the profit. Other places don't do this. And they don't do it because I think they have a more clear understanding and separation between what the risk and what the reward actually is. You are taking enormous amounts of risk and getting, actually besides negative returns.
Did you hear that? Besides negative returns. So just to sort of spell this out for us, here's what's happening. He's suggesting in most communities, and this is true, the developers take on the risk. Now, why is that a good idea? Because the developers then obviously are looking to move the homes, so they're not having all this debt, if you will, on their books, right? So there's some room there to make some movement to possibly even create more affordable housing, if you will, okay? And many times you're going to hear from people, and I talked to Governor Burgum yesterday. Governor Burgum, very smart financial mind. He said, Chris, one of the things that people may not be aware of is you've got some developers out there, they've got $100 million on their balance sheets. They got $100 million on their balance sheets, and yet guess who's putting the money out to take the risk to develop the infrastructure, to develop the land? That would be you. You are taking the risk through specials, not the developer.
Actually, besides negative returns, no real reward for that risk in any way. Let's go through what this looks like. I call this endless subsidies on my slide. I made this slide last night because I'm like, we got to talk about this. You take on, when you do a special assessment, all the financing risk. Developers have to go out in other places and borrow money. Like in other cities, they have to go out and do that. They don't get the infrastructure installed for them and built for them by the taxpayer. And then, you know, if it takes a year to sell that lot, or if it takes 3 years to sell that lot, or 5 years, that's all money, and that's like burning, you know, the developer's losing money when that sits in lags like that. Here, they don't lose any money at all. They certainly.
The longer the developer holds on to that asset, or what it's going to be a liability for him because he's trying to sell it, but the longer they hold on to that, obviously they're losing money. That's why they want to move through the homes, potentially giving you a better opportunity to negotiate than if the city's putting it all up. Folks, this is where it drives me nuts. And I mean nuts. The city leverages your money, okay, to hold the debt so developers can go out and build stuff. But then not only does the city use your money to leverage for the builders, then when they charge you the specials, they get a rip off it. The city acts like a bank. And what I mean by that, we talked about this yesterday. What I mean by that is that the city, let's say they get charged 5% interest rate for their bond, right? Guess what they charge you? Not 5%. They're charging you 6%. So that extra percent, when you're looking at $20 million, $200 million, I mean, that's a lot of money. But they can now take that rip, what I call it a rip, a commission, whatever. It's not a commission, but you know what I'm trying to say. And they can then throw that in the general fund, and it becomes like a little slush fund for them. When in reality, that money could be put in your pocket. They don't need to charge you the extra percent.
As a public, assume that risk. What reward do you get for that? What's your payback for that? There's no payback. You're just assuming, right? You subsidize here in Fargo the first 24 months of occupancy. So for some reason, when people move in, you say, well, we're going to provide all these parks and all the police protection and fire protection. We'll plow your roads for free. We'll do.
So what's he talking about there? What, again, I mentioned to you before yesterday, what this gentleman's suggesting is we are incentivizing bad behavior. Okay, if you talk to Governor Burgum, which I had a chance to yesterday, he'll say to you, hey, Chris, do you want to know what the two properties in the state of North Dakota that generate the most revenue per square foot? It's going to be Block 9 and the Radisson. Block 9 and the Radisson are generating the most revenue per square foot, meaning, hey, there's an opportunity now to maybe develop some scale within government, right? That's the other thing that drives you and I crazy, is that there's no economies of scale when it comes to government. So what we're doing right now in Fargo is we're saying, hey, you want to go move on the outskirts, right? Let's forget about the infill. You want to go move on the outskirts of Fargo? We're going to incentivize you to do that to give you a 2-year property tax break. You might love that, but is it the right incentive? Is it the right incentive? So we've only got another minute or so here, but there's a piece that I wanted to play for you from this gentleman where he gets into the part about Fargo being a nonprofit engineering firm. And I just want, because this guy used to have an engineering firm. So I just want to go there for a moment, just so you can get a chance to hear what he has to say and you can better process what's happening right now in the city of Fargo.
Very successful city, and I get why it's a model for many of you to copy. But Fargo has created its own internal nonprofit engineering firm. And I think in some ways they would argue, and you could argue that, well, that's very efficient, right? We don't have to hire consultants. We don't have to spend money on other things. We can do this all in-house, so that's very good. The problem is I ran an engineering firm. I know the pain, the deep, deep agony that comes when you don't have enough work. Because when you don't have enough work and you're running your own firm, you have to look at your friend, your colleague, who has a family, who has kids, who has, commitments, and you have to tell them, you do not have a job here anymore. That's the most painful thing I've had to do in my life, running an engineering firm. But if you run a public engineering firm inside a department, and you can grow and grow and grow your staff on doing special assessments and projects, and you're short of cash, what do? Are you faced with the idea of letting your colleagues go? Are you faced with downsizing and those very painful things? No, what do? You just go do another project. You just come up with the next project to do. The incentives on this are all wrong. They're all backward. And I'm not suggesting these aren't very good, noble people. I'm not suggesting these aren't like my neighbors and my friends and fellow,
Don't you love how he couches it? We always have to do the Minnesota, Minnesota, North Dakota nice thing. That's just who we are. And he's being very forthright and honest, saying, folks, when you've got an engineering firm that's done within the city walls, the city downtown, city office, right? You're creating bad incentives. Like he says, you're not going to fire them. They just go find another project. Now, again, as he said, I'm not saying anyone's doing anything malicious or they're just making up projects to go do. All I'm saying is that the opportunity is there. The opportunity is there, thus creating the wrong incentives. Would love to know your point of view. When we come back, we may have the founder and president of Grand Sky. We'll see. If we don't, then I want to share with you, because I asked Governor Burgum his point of view on what this gentleman had to say yesterday at the governor's own Main Street Summit. And I think Governor Burgum didn't mince many words either. So stick around for that if we get to play that for you. Plus, what if there was a Chris Berg Show tip line? And we could go to work for you to uncover where you potentially have been wronged. We go to work for you. We may introduce you to that when we come back. Stay with us, 701-271-1100, 701-271-1100.
Business had its own app, expertly designed to provide better service for your customers and more efficient solutions for your employees. At OnSharp, our experts will design, build, test, and launch an app that will help your company overcome its biggest hurdles. We've developed apps for some of the most successful brands in our region, so we know how to get it right the first time. Learn more about the thorough app development process we'll go through for your business at onsharp.com/get-it-right.
President Trump had a huge rally in Iowa this past weekend, and only one major cable news channel covered it live. Newsmax. I watch it all the time. Newsmax is great. Newsmax Trump rally show had millions of people tune in. They're bypassing the big media and going right to Newsmax. You need to watch Newsmax all the time and tell your friends and family to do it too. Remember, Newsmax is on all major cable systems except for Midco, which refuses to carry Newsmax on its basic package, where they carry 11 liberal news channels like CNN and MSNBC, but won't carry Newsmax. And Midco viewers just missed Newsmax's recent special with Kristi Noem at the Reagan Ranch. If you're a Midco customer, remember, they carry dozens of channels with less viewership than Newsmax. Switch your cable and broadband service to one that does carry Newsmax on their basic package. Also on Newsmax this weekend, watch great shows with Mike Huckabee, Greg Kelly, Dick Morris, Diamond and Silk, and more. Newsmax, a trusted source. Watch Trump live on Newsmax.
Steep me a cup of tea. We are more than your average cup of yummy tea. We provide nourishment for your body through tea and herbs. I am Jerry Hintz.
And I am Teresina Hintz. And together, Jerry and I have developed, imported, and handcrafted over 400 loose leaf blends to nourish you. We have a tea to help with digestion, insomnia, cold and viral infections, and many more. Learn more at steepme.com or come by our store in South Fargo.
Stop on in. We'll help you choose a Steep Me a Cup of Tea.
Getting the Christmas spirit good and early this year with the Branson Christmas Tour from Juven Tours and Travel. Carol, what kind of entertainment is awaiting us in beautiful Branson, Missouri?
Danny O'Donnell is waiting for your arrival.
Danny O'Donnell. What do you like about Danny O'Donnell?
He has been performing for years, and he was at North Coast Fest for several years and very, very popular. And, of course, we've included him here. And we've also included the violinist, Tabushi, in a mix of wonderful performers that you can enjoy. We are featuring, in addition to the well-known artists of Tabushi and Danny O'Donnell, 5 additional headliners.
5 nights, better than 6 days, dinner, breakfast, every single day. Beautiful motor coach, take you there and back. Leave on the 13th of November, return on the 18th of November. 237-9000, 237-9000, juventours.com, Branson Christmas Tour. Come along.
Guarantee you, Frankie Sinatra, he would probably have unmanned aerial systems, aka drones, flying, some, just like he said there, some kind of cocktail or, something would be flying to Frankie. That is for sure. All right. Welcome back to the Chris Berg Show. Always great to have you with us. Thank you so much for lending us your ears for an hour in this oasis of freedom. I want to introduce you to a very special guest because there's just an incredible event happening up in Grand Forks today and tomorrow. It's actually the 15th annual UAS Summit and Expo. This gentleman is the founder and president of Grand Sky. It's like the hub of UAS. I'm going to say maybe for the world, definitely North Dakota. Tom Sawyer. Tom, thank you so much for joining us. And thank you for what you've done with Grand Sky in the state of North Dakota. We appreciate it.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you so much for having me on. It's the first time I've been with your show, and we are so excited about everything going on here at Grand Forks. And you are not kidding. Grand Forks is one of the hubs in the universe for unmanned systems.
So if you don't mind, we've just got a limited amount of time with you, but for people that aren't able to get up to Grand Forks today or tomorrow, like what's the single most important thing you believe they should know about what's happening with Grand Sky? And the other thing, if you wouldn't mind tying into that, is like I said earlier in the show today, Tom, I was like, wow, you look at all 4 quadrants of North Dakota. I've never seen our state more primed economically to just take off and explode. Like, what does the UAS industry ultimately mean for the economics of our state?
That is a fabulous question, and there's a lot of answers for that. But I think the number one answer is that just look around, and there are a lot of job postings. I learned from some community college leaders that there are more people. Our companies in North Dakota need more CDL drivers than there are drivers available. And so if we can't get enough CDL drivers, then let's figure out how we're going to use unmanned aircraft to deliver those goods across the state. How do we deliver parts into the oil fields? How do we deliver other kinds of products around the state? How do we deliver medical supplies safely and cheaply? And my answer is quickly, unmanned aerial systems is the way to go with that.
Do you agree with me that Frankie Sinatra would probably have a couple beverages delivered in via drones if he could?
He absolutely would. I think he'd have his own private drone, Bourbon One. So,
oh, that is fantastic. You mentioned the workforce issue, which is just, we talk about it ad nauseum here in the States. I just want to run something by and get your feedback on this. But one of the things I'm proposing, especially with the mandates going on and vaccination cards, and I don't need you to get into that conversation. And if North Dakota could brand itself as the freest state in the nation, do you think that would be a good brand, and would it attract people here?
I think it certainly would. And I think and I don't think you need to necessarily qualify it either. I think that being branded the freest state in the nation means business, people, liberty. I think it means businesses can operate the way they need to provide a great product at a reasonable price for their customers. I think it means that we all agree that public safety is a concern. But hey, how do we apply this? And using unmanned systems gives us another degree of freedom that I think absolutely can work for North Dakota.
Ooh, I love how you tied that in, Tom. That was beautiful. Hey, I see how UAS can give us another arm of freedom. That was fantastic. I got about 45 seconds left. And if you don't, I mean, this is a hard question to answer quickly. And if you don't mind, like, what's the single biggest advancement you see happening in the next 12 to 24 months in the UAS arena? And again, how does that impact North Dakota?
So the number one advancement will be the Vantis network that the state has been investing in that will allow companies to fly their aircraft across the state, which is currently a little bit prohibited with FAA rules. We've started to pioneer that process at Grand Sky, and that has created a tremendous economic impact in the Grand Forks region because of the great jobs that have been created, the great salaries that are being paid. But that ability to fly aircraft from Williston to Grand Forks, or Grand Forks to Bismarck, or Bismarck to Devil's Lake, all of those things, will absolutely free up the airspace and give us the opportunity to really leverage this technology. That, to me, is the holy grail. And I can absolutely assure you, Chris, North Dakota is so far ahead of other states that they're getting scared and they're starting to spend a lot of money to try to catch up to us. But we need to keep our foot on the gas pedal and keep going forward.
Tom, we need to have you back. Again, I apologize for the short amount of time here, but we really appreciate the insight. Thank you again for what you're doing for our great state. And just be aware, because you may see a Bourbon One heading your way soon.
I hope so. Thank you for having me.
Bourbon One. Thank you, Tom. I appreciate it. Boy, he nailed that, didn't he? Bourbon One, Frankie Sinatra's own private drone. I think he pretty much crushed it. Hey, one of the things we talk about in the show here, faith, freedom, and action. So we've been talking about special assessments as of late. I want to give out Fargo Mayor Tim Mahoney's phone number quickly and the website here. If you want to reach out to the mayor's office and just open up a dialogue around special assessments, or you want to say, hey, I heard that the city's acting like a bank, or whatever you want to share with them, but I think it's an important conversation to have. So the phone number to Mayor Mahoney's office is 701-241-8572. Again, 701-241-8572. And you can just contact the mayor directly if you go to fargond.gov. Yes, I can speak. fargond.gov. We teased the Chris Berg tip line. We'll talk about that on tomorrow's show. We got Jim Casper joining us, talking about what we can do to fight back against mandates. Welcome to the Chris Berg Show. Thanks for being here. Have a great day. We'll see you back here tomorrow at 4 p.m.